right, to start off, I found this website here. It's 11 steps to create a Google Plus community for your class. And this is a step-by-step guide that's going to help you with the Google Plus community. You can watch this video as you have a second browser up and you're looking at it. This is kind of a virtual environment, right, the Google Plus community, that allows you to have collaborative space for your class where you can share resources and initiate discussions with and among students. So the first thing you need to do is type in Google Plus or Google Plus Community into a Google browser, and you will find that on here you will bring up a page and it'll look something like this. Don't get caught up. It's not always going to look exactly like this. Sometimes they run updates and they look a little different, but for the most part it'll have the same content on here, and you're going to create a community. Once you get this community up and let's just say started, you need to get into your privacy settings. Your privacy, are you gonna have it private or are you gonna have it public? So you'll choose whether you want to invite members or if you just want it to be public for everybody and anybody. Early on, I was private. I made everything as like, oh no, just my students. But since I've done a lot of these, I'm just public. I don't really have a hard line as to how and why I keep myself public, but I don't care if people join and kind of see what's up with the world of physics or honors or science. I never have a problem with that. So click on whichever one you want and go ahead and you'll click on Create Community. Make sure that for these, in this case, this example was public, you'll need to make sure you get your permission settings that no one can join or anyone can join or a moderator needs to approve. So everybody cannot necessarily edit the page. So you'll decide how that works, but a moderator is simply somebody who can control what's going on the page. In private, you'll decide what those are as well. Then you'll name the community. Don't overthink this. The providing a name is kind of what you want it to be titled. I teach honors or science, so I have one for my honors or science sections, or I have freshman physics, and I generally put my class name and then the year. That actually helps me. The kids don't really care about the title. Generally, I would have you bookmark it anyway. So once you have them get into it one time, they get it and they know how to work with it and run through it. So that said, make sure you name it. That's going to help you so that you know how and where to get it. You'll pick a photo for your community. That's what goes on the home page when you view it every time. There'll be this picture here. Don't spend too much time on the picture. It's kind of tricky though, because you need a certain pixel range or pixelation for the photo to be accepted. So not every and any photo works, but you can find one that you want. You can be funny, it can be unique, it could be something relevant to your class itself, but you'll need to make sure you pick a photo. I think that's something that you'll want to do right away, and you'll only do it once. So after the photo, you can write a tagline. This can be something that's just clever. It's optional. You don't have to do it. I always do. I always do something goofy or silly, or I don't know. As long as I laugh or I smile, it's all I really care about. But some funky tagline. You'll write a description. Now, the writing a description part, you'll only do this once. So I always say make it count. That you can let others know what it is that you talk about in this community and invite them to share and join in the conversation. I always say sometimes when you write this description, you're giving the ground rules, the basis of what your expectations are. You can write a summary as to the class. You can write a summary as to how the community page is going to be kind of used. But I think as much as anything, write it and just hold firm to it. And it can be a paragraph. It could be just a couple words. It can be whatever it is. But the description, because you'll only do it once, make sure whatever you put on there, just make it count. Next, moving on, adding categories. Now, a category is how you're going to organize your posts when you post these. So a discussion, that's a good one. That's a discussion one is that I generally call it student discussion, that's the only stream in which students can post statements and comments on. When I add categories, I generally add a category that says class lectures. And so that's the location, the category that I generally put the videos that I create for my students in. So once you start adding categories, and I don't think you want to have a lot, I think 2 or 3 is probably enough at least to get started so you understand what your categories are going to be. But you can add a category for lesson plans, another one for tutorials, whatever it is you want to do. But don't get caught up in these. These are where you're going to place the content that you're putting on your live stream. But the categories are important, and you'll get some practice with that. And you can always go back here. It says you can always go back and re-edit the community features. I've changed the names of them a couple times early on when I was first creating these. So nobody really catches it. They're like, oh yeah, teacher just changed the post. Oh well. Then you'll want to invite people. And if you have your privacy settings on private, then you have to invite them directly. If it's on public, then they can just join on their own. You can, number 9 says start a hangout. This is a feature that allows you to do a video hangout. And this would take some practice. I don't do many hangouts at all. I do encourage my students to. That's something you could explore on your own. I'm not going to talk you through how to do that. Creating an event. Here's another thing you can do. These are kind of cool. You can easily create an event to share with others simply by clicking on the Create Event button. Provide the title of the event, the date, the location, the details. You can invite friends or the students, and this actually sends them a direct email. And this is kind of whatever you want to do. I don't do so much as creating events because I always put a timeline into my general post itself. So I kind of use the community page as a kind of a self-sufficient. I don't need to create one of these. And then last but not least, sharing. What is it you're going to be trying to put onto the community page? And this is where I feel like the most important button. It's the simplest, but it's the most important one. I can put a picture or multiple pictures up. I can go to YouTube. I can create and load a document, a Google Doc, a Google Slide. It doesn't really, this is from your own library. This is what you own right here. So this gets into your files. You can load that. And this is just simply for a link. You can post or paste the link in here too. So this is what you're sharing. This is the content. If you're posting videos, it'll be through YouTube. If it's pictures, whether it's picture online or from class, here are documents. It's just a lot of versatility, and that's what I feel like is one of the best selling points of the Google Plus community page. So hopefully that was a useful tutorial.